Just after 4 a.m., November 13th, 2022, in Moscow, Idaho, 4 college students were brutally murdered inside an off-campus home. No clear motive, no connection, just a crime scene so violent it left even seasoned investigators searching for answers.
What happened that night changed everything.
The 4 were stabbed with a knife, and these murders have shaken us to our very core.
Because of him, 4 beautiful, compassionate people were taken from this world.
A suspect emerges, not a drifter, not a stranger, but a criminology PhD student who had spent years studying the very crimes he now stood accused of committing.
How are you feeling?
This is it. Bryan, Christopher.
Last time to Pennsylvania, Bryan.
He confessed, but the deeper question refused to go away. How does someone go from analyzing killers to becoming one? And was this the work of obsession, calculation, or something far more unsettling beneath the surface?
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yeah. Penalty for that offense if you plead guilty or are found guilty, and/or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
From calculated premeditation to a mind consumed by its own dark curiosity. Welcome to Psyche Probe. Today we step inside a killer who didn't just commit a crime, he studied it until the line between theory and reality disappeared. Inside 1122 King Road, 4 young lives were brutally ended. Zana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogen, and Kaylee Gonzalez, all asleep, all unaware of the nightmare creeping through their home.
Get hold of the on-call prosecutor, tell them what we got, and let them know that you're working on a...
Detectives called it overwhelming. Even seasoned officers admitted this was unlike anything they'd ever seen.
Taken into the crime scene to see what was there, it was overwhelming would be an understatement, unlike anything that I think I've ever seen. Just with the number of victims and the brutality of the attack.
Zana Kernodle lay on her bedroom floor, over 50 stab wounds, and she wasn't alone. Her boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, was right there beside her, also murdered. Upstairs, Madison Mogen and Kaylee Gonzalez shared a room, together until the very end, gone.
Well, get your ass into town. We've got a quadruple homicide.
20-year-old Zana Kernodle was on the floor in her bedroom with more than 50 stab wounds. Her boyfriend, 20-year-old Ethan Chapin, was in Zana's bed. Upstairs, 21-year-old Madison Mogen had been stabbed to death in her bed, and lying next to her was her childhood friend and college roommate, 20-year-old Kaylee Gonzalez.
It's...
Yeah, where's she at?
You got closer. Yes, please, kind of.
Slow down. Just come here. There's 2 fatalities.
The house, normally full of laughter and late-night college chatter, had been home to moments frozen in time. TikTok dances, jokes between roommates, photos before the football game.
Murphy, you've been a bad boy!
There's this video that was posted a few weeks before the murders where the roommates are joking, laughing, pretending to be each other. You really get the sense of just how much they loved each other in that house.
Did anybody do their chores today? I'm just gonna do it. Get out of here. You seriously gotta get out of here.
If you look back at their moments, you can actually see their whole lives. These girls really did do the social media stuff.
Get down.
Everywhere, so people got a taste and a look and a feel of who they really were. I think people connected with that, and then if you go back...
Just hours later, all memories turned into evidence and every familiar face lost. Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk, surviving roommates, would later recount seeing the killer, tall, dressed in black, moving like a shadow through their home.
Then Maddie and David came home from the club. And then we all hung out and came for a little.
Yeah, that you saw.
I don't think he was a little bit taller than me. And, I couldn't really see much of him, but I'm almost positive he's wearing a full black outfit. And he had this mask that was just over his forehead and over his mouth, and he didn't say anything to me. I just shut the door and locked it because I didn't know what to do.
And then, surveillance revealed something chilling, a white Elantra moving through the neighborhood at 3:30 a.m. By 4:20, the sedan sped away.
The sedan is seen and heard speeding away.
This car, unremarkable at first glance, would become the single thread that began to unravel the case.
That car, because we believe through our investigation that car was in the area during the time of...
Officers across state lines followed that thread and found a match. At the center of it all, a man who had studied killers for years, a PhD student in criminology, Bryan Kohberger.
White Elantra, and there's an officer, a campus police officer from Washington State University, across the state border, who decides to run a list of all the white Elantras on campus. And he finds one. It's registered to a guy named Bryan Kohberger.
But the car was just the beginning. Inside the house, the killer had left behind a knife sheath, a single small piece of evidence with one undeniable truth led back to the same man, Bryan Kohberger.
Body. And on the snap of the sheath was a single source DNA, meaning that it came from one individual, possibly the killer.
That was collected and immediately hand-delivered to the forensics lab, the Idaho State Police Forensics Lab in Meridian, Idaho, and they, that night, began working on processing it for DNA and fingerprints.
During his arrest, investigators noted Kohberger's eerie calm. No outbursts, no panic, just measured answers. He was performing. But why? Criminology students are trained to observe without emotion, and Kohberger had mastered that skill and twisted it.
Tonight, in conjunction with the Pennsylvania State Police, Federal Bureau of Investigation, detectives arrested 28-year-old Bryan Christopher Kohberger in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania.
Hey, Bryan.
How you feeling?
How you feeling, Bryan?
Are you ready to go to Idaho?
Why did you do it? You lost time to Pennsylvania. Mr. Kohberger was taken into custody without incident. The scene was turned over to the FBI Evidence Response Team for processing.
Courtroom footage later showed his parents breaking down while his eyes scanned the gallery. Controlled, unreadable, not shock, not remorse, a performance rooted in his psychological education.
Why did you do it? You lost time to Pennsylvania, Bryan.
He is very intelligent. In my hour conversation with him, that comes off. I can tell that.
I was inside of that courtroom when he walked in. His mother broke down into tears. The Kohberger family, they were sitting on the front row of that courtroom. He made sure to make that eye contact with them, and he kept looking at them.
That would be the last time that he looked into the gallery at any courtroom. Once he gets to Idaho, he looks straight ahead.
Back in Pennsylvania, Kohberger was just a student on the outside. But his online activity painted a darker picture. Obsessive searches on serial killers, mass shooters, wiretaps, federal tracking, all during the weeks leading up to and after the murders.
It's not that unusual for sadistic killers. We think of the BTK killer in Kansas, the Golden State killer in California. Both had criminology degrees, and the California killer did go on to become a law enforcement officer.
He was not just fascinated by crime. He was studying it, learning the mechanics, mapping the methods, until curiosity became execution.
According to some of his fellow students at DeSales University, Kohberger seemed to be especially serial killers and mass shooters, including Elliot Rodger, who in 2014 killed 6 people, injured 14 others near the University of California, Santa Barbara.
Back in Idaho, the families begin the hardest journey, justice. The investigation continues to unfold in court, with prosecutors hoping devices would reveal motives. But Kohberger had prepared, deleted history, encrypted files, VPNs.
The man who murdered Kaylee, Madison, Ethan, and Xana was in jail awaiting trial, and prosecutors were seeking the death penalty, which completely supported.
We definitely do. Yep, that's part of the reason we moved to Idaho. That's what we're looking for. The ultimate form of justice is that.
Prosecutors are pursuing the death penalty, and they're really hoping that Bryan Kohberger's cell phone and laptop would provide them with critical evidence. But that turned out to be more difficult than they expected.
And yet, what they did find was even more disturbing. Digital forensics exposed an obsession: self-images, countless photos, even selfies, with his mother in the background.
Those on his phone, there were a lot, most of them of himself.
He loved himself. That is what I think. He seems very vain. He took a lot of topless photos of himself from different angles, like forward, sideways profile views, flexing in mirrors, but then would do nothing with them. Even after he was home in Pennsylvania in Christmas, there's some selfies that he was taking of himself with mother sitting in the background.
And then it gets darker. Search patterns tied to non-consensual acts. Every search, every click, carefully timed, studied. This wasn't random. This was premeditation, methodical, and chilling.
Picture or video, I can't remember which, didn't spend any time there, that appears to be him masturbating. There was porn activity, and the thing that really stood out to me was that they were all non-consensual sex acts. So the terms that he was searching for involved rape, drugged, sleeping, and voyeurism.
The 4 victims were not chosen at random. Surveillance, phone data, and the killer's prior visits suggest deliberate selection. Kohberger studied his target environment, noting routines, timing, and vulnerabilities. The power dynamic? Entirely on his terms.
Significant, they were able to see that his phone had been in the area of the house on King Road up to 12 times in the months leading up to the murders.
He observed, planned, and struck when the balance was fully in his favor, testing boundaries between fear, control, and execution.
I really think that it was premeditated. I think the fact that browser history from October and November, not before and not after, is not available to us means that that's when he was figuring out what he wanted to do.
Months stretch into years. The plea deal arrives June 30th, 2025. 4 life sentences, no parole, death penalty off the table.
Breaking news in the Idaho student murders case of Bryan Kohberger. In a shocking turn of events, Bryan Kohberger appears to have accepted a plea deal.
On June 30th, 2025, news broke that Bryan Kohberger had agreed to a plea agreement just weeks before jury selection was set to begin in his trial.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Murder in the first degree, how do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Kohberger admits guilt, but reveals nothing more. Motive? Unknown. Targeting? Unknown. Only the actions remain. Brutal, deliberate, incomprehensible.
As part of the plea deal, Kohberger admitted his guilt, waived his rights to an appeal, and agreed to serve 4 life sentences in possibility of parole. In return, the prosecution took the death penalty off the table. Kohberger did not have to give any details about the murders or about his motive, and while some of the victims' families were behind the decision, others, including the Gonzalez family, were not.
Victims' families finally face him in court. Dylan Mortensen, surviving roommate, speaks directly. Tears, panic, rage, words as sharp as any blade.
Because of him, 4 beautiful, genuine, compassionate people were taken from this world for no reason. He didn't just take them from the world. He took them from me, my friends, my people who felt like my home.
The family's statements are a mix of heartbreak and defiance. Pain, long delayed, unleashed in controlled moments. Kohberger listens silently, eyes forward. Justice, procedural, but human cost beyond measure.
We are here to finish what you started. Today, you've lost control. Today, we are here to prove to the world that you picked the wrong families. The wrong state, the wrong police officers, the wrong community. You tried to divide us. You failed. Instead, your actions have united everyone in their disgust for you.
Bryan Kohberger's story is one of planning, calculation, and the darkest curiosity manifest in real life. 4 young lives were taken. a town changed forever, and the study of crime became the execution of it.
In Kohberger, and what they found, paint.
He was definitely a loner. We looked at it, and some monster snuck into their home and killed them.
Folks, we have big breaking news in the Idaho student murders case of Bryan Kohberger. In a shocking turn of events, Bryan Kohberger appears to have accepted a plea deal.
Kohberger's case will continue to ripple through criminal studies. How do we identify dark intent? What patterns hint at real-world danger? The line between study and action, fascination and obsession
He was also back at the scene of the crime at that point.
As for photos on his phone, there were a lot.
Nothing with them. Even after he was home in Pennsylvania in Christmas.
becomes terrifyingly thin. Share your thoughts and subscribe to Psyche Probe.